Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Tabar's 2 Cents, where we bring on the experts in whatever niche of the industry that they're in, that they are experts in, and we ask them to share their tips and their secrets, and basically their story of how they overcame struggle and how they set themselves apart from the mediocre. And today, my guest, I'm feeling really nostalgic today because my guest is a very, very dear friend of mine who has mastered the pre-construction condo investment niche, and also has just shown his ability to recruit and build a team around that so that we can cast a wider net amongst this massive GTA market that every other week there's a development. It's impossible to work every development. So how do we cast a wider net? We need more people. So Imran Alam, I've known him for 14, 15 years now. Imran, how are you today?
I'm good, brother. I spoke to you this morning before the podcast.
Speak to you almost every morning. But yeah,
good,
how are things? How's the market? How are things on your end? Been busy this summer?
Things are good. Market's good.
I've seen you develop from a little tadpole 14 years ago at the real estate center brokerage into this like mammoth crocodile alligator type thing. I know that you when you first started, you came from a cute, quiet, well-behaved part of the city we call Rexdale, or the Rex. And
is that what we're talking about right now?
Needless to say, is that a gin and tonic? It's 10 a.m., man.
It's water 11, man.
Okay.
I gotta get my podcast voice. My video podcast voice ready for you.
No, it's easy. Don't worry. Your video podcast voice is great.
Thanks.
I want to actually like dig deep and obviously like Rexdale. There's some temptation around there to maybe get involved in some less than legal income producing activities. How did you manage to get out of that or to think bigger and want more for yourself? What was the driving factor for you that kind of steered you away from certain groups and certain friends? What brought you into real estate and really made you want to produce more for yourself?
So, number one thing is goals. Setting goals. I was setting goals since I was a teenager, and belief in yourself as well. Believe that you can accomplish whatever it is that you put your mind to. So, and there's more, but goals was probably one of the biggest things. Did I have a lot of influence by my environment? Of course, 100%. A lot of the people that I grew up with are unfortunately not here today. And it's a different kind of life growing up in that kind of environment. But anyway, goals give you purpose, they give you direction. Also, Tony, the people around me as well. I'm surrounded by a great support system, great family, great friends. Like, look at you and I, we've been friends for 15 years, man. And I consider you one of my brothers. I consider you one of my guys from kindergarten, even though we met when we were adults. So it's love, goals, and belief in yourself, big time belief in yourself. And that kept me from going astray.
Yeah, for sure, man. You definitely showed that. Now, you started out in real estate doing a lot of leases, just building a database that way, creatively finding tenants by advertising on Kijiji, Craigslist. Back then, it was free to do it. And you just were hammering out like 50, 60 leases a year. Speak to that a little bit and basically how you transitioned into more of the sales side of things. What were you feeling like when you were almost, at rock bottom and you found this opportunity with the pre-construction side of things?
So I got into real estate. I was young. I was 23 years old when I got into real estate. I didn't have a very wide network of people of my age who are ready to purchase or had the ability to purchase at the time. I didn't have a secondary job, so real estate was always my full time since I got licensed at 23. And my mentor at the time, who's also you know who I'm talking about, Simon Giannini. My mentor at the time suggested, why don't I post some ads on Craigslist and Kijiji, do some rentals, get some money flowing in. So I just started doing that and kept me busy. And yeah, I was doing 60, 70, 80 rentals a year for a couple of years. In the beginning of my career. And I mastered doing leases, and I needed more. I needed more growth. So I started looking, what else is similar to leases where, I'm dealing with many different people at the same time. I'm doing multiple transactions. Average agent does how many sales a year? Tony, 3, 4.
3 or 4.
I'm doing 5, 6 deals a month in rentals. Now I want to get this in sales. So the easiest transition or the parallel that I saw was in pre-construction sales. So it's for growth. I wanted to grow more. From where I was.
See, that's like completely opposite from what I was experiencing when I first got my license. And I was, you and I would say started around the same time. And I was
about
very
months
blessed.
Apart, yeah.
I was blessed with a big family and a big network of friends who had not become realtors yet. I think like 10 of my friends are now realtors. But I remember sitting downtown. It was like maybe 2009, 2010, and you would ask me, Tony, how much you want to make this month? And I came from a very, very humble job. Like I was making muffins at I was probably making like $2,000 to $3,000 a month. And I would tell you, as long as I make $2,000 or $3,000 a month and I didn't make a bad decision, and you would tell me, no, Tony, no, you got to make $30,000 this month. And I remember Austin Powers came out, and I would look at $30,000 a month, and it happens, man. It happened. We just you just think outside the box, and you manifest this stuff, and then it just kind of comes into fruition. So I really, really want to thank you for always pushing me further than I thought I could go, and for always having these bigger
love you, man.
Outstanding goals.
I love you, man. Thank you.
So you did mention that you went into pre-construction sales. Now, I mean, real estate is a vast industry. Like there's land assembly, there's commercial leases, there's industrial leases, there's resale houses in Mississauga, resale houses in Durham. So it's a very vast industry, and I'm a big believer in the fact that you cannot be a master of all. So I use this analogy when I'm talking to clients on the phone for the first time. I say, look, when you have an earache and you go to your doctor, your family doctor, who you've been going to for years, regular checkups, physicals, you tell him, Doc, I have an earache. He'll look at it. He'll put that little thing in your ear with the light, and he'll do as much as it is that he can do until he refers you to a specialist or an ENT specialist, somebody who specializes in ears, nose, and throats, so that they can diagnose the problem even further. I take this analogy and I use it towards real estate, and I say, you can't be a master of everything. So you have really become a pre-construction condo investing specialist. So when I talk to somebody on the phone, I tell them I'm not the same person who's going to help you find a cottage in Muskoka. I'm not the same person who's going to sell your family home, or you're not going to see my face on the trash can or the side of a bus. But I will get you into the door first at a pre-construction condo launch. How did you, in your own words, using this formula and using a specialist, how can a pre-construction condo investor win by using this strategy?
So one of the greatest benefits in working with a specialist when you want to purchase pre-construction is we know the ins and outs. We know the ins and outs. Just like you said, if I have an earache, I'm not going to the dentist, right?
Yeah.
We know what properties are available. We know all the upcoming projects. We're in the know, right? We're plugged in. So our information of inventory, where we can guide people, right? So whenever we meet somebody new, Tony, how do we help them? We ask them questions, right? And based on the answers, then we can properly tailor what makes sense for them. Do you want something closing in 2 years versus 6 years? Do you want to move in versus do you want a high density rental area? So we'll know where to guide these people. So that's number one. That's huge, right? Our knowledge. We're not limited to 2 or 3 buildings. We know everything that's going on, or not everything, but almost all the big ones. Number 2 is developer relationships. So Tony, obviously you know this very well. A developer releases their projects. They release it in small batches, usually 10 to 20% of the building at a time. And majority of all of the investors that win purchase within the first or second round of release of any given building. Developers, and again, Tony, you know this as well, developers reach out to their realtors who perform time and time again at their projects and give us preferential treatment. Not preferential treatment, sorry, but they give us preference in an inventory pick and in best incentives for our clients as well. We can negotiate. Again, because we do a lot of volume, right? So
how important is timing in all this? Why is it important to get in the first or second round? What are developers doing in the third, fourth, and fifth rounds that you would say to an investor, you may have missed the boat here?
So in the first and second rounds, usually the developers are releasing their most desirable units. Number one. Number 2 is the price increase, right? Getting a unit is more important. If the price goes up a little bit, 10, 20,000, get the unit, get your foot in the door. So inventory is number 1. You get top pick of inventory. And number 2 would be the price increase. There's always price increases on every release per project. So if you want to avoid, having to purchase something for $10,000, $20,000 more, try your best to be ready to get in the first or second round. But if you don't get in the first or second round, it's okay. Just get your foot in the door.
I hear you. Now, obviously, I mean, there's no shortage of opinion out there. Like when I go get my haircut, which hasn't been in a while, but when I sit at my barber, he talks to me like he's been a realtor for 30 years. Like everybody seems to know. Everybody seems to be an expert in the real estate industry, and I've personally come across people in my life who would tell me I will never ever buy pre-construction condo ever again. They're always more expensive than the resale condos. Maybe they had some sort of a bad experience with a bad builder, or maybe they didn't buy at the right time. They paid more than they had to. But then on the other side, I mean, we have investors that we work with that their entire portfolio is pre-construction condos. Now, what gives? Like, how can one person have such a great experience and then another person like detest the investment altogether? What is one person doing that the other person is not? And I think as a pre-construction condo investment specialist, you figured that out. There's a formula in order to invest in using the pre-construction condo as an investment. And I would say timing is probably one of the most important things. You said
timing is important for everything.
You mentioned that developers will raise prices 10, 20, 30. I've seen $50,000 increases between rounds. Like, look, let's call a spade a spade. The developers are not building for charity here. Wherever they can increase the bottom line, they will. They want to make a profit whenever they see a demand. So that
Correct.
Initial jump that they do after the first round pricing, because sometimes they don't know what they have until the pricing and plans are released, and then they can see demand. Now, by inviting their past performing realtors to that first round, they allocate a certain percentage of the building to these 15, 20, 25 platinum agents. And that's where their insiders really take advantage, is because they're getting their day one pricing before the developers see any sort of demand. That initial jump that you're seeing, you know, 30, 20, 30, $40,000 can, you know, add another 5, 6, 7% to your ROI at the end of it all, you know? And that's why a lot of our investors will choose the pre-construction condo investment, because when you're looking at the market now and seeing these bidding wars and investors are still fighting for property out there, it's a really, really nice way to buy real estate in a market like this, when you see somebody pay $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 more than you did.
Yeah.
In just a few weeks after you bought. You know, so although the money isn't realized until you sell, it's nice to know that there's someone out there who sees the value in paying $40,000 more than you just did. You know, so that's where I find that, you know, being a pre-construction condo specialist, you're providing tangible value to your purchasers, just in dollars, you know.
Sure. And also too, Tony, I mean, a lot of agents, and there's 50,000 agents. Nothing against any agent that doesn't know pre-construction, you know, or doesn't specialize in pre-construction. But I found working in this niche market, most agents don't understand pre-construction fully. And because of that, they're unable to lay out what the buyer should expect, you know, regarding closing costs, regarding timelines, terminology. A lot of the time I find is not explained correctly to buyers by agents who are not specializing in pre-construction. So not only the money aspect, but also the knowledge aspect is missing, you know, misses out with an agent who's not specializing in pre-construction.
For sure. And I also wanted to bring up another one of your skills. Now, you and I started working together in the pre-construction niche in about 2019. You had already started quite a bit of time before I did. You know, you had
not too long, about a year and some change.
Yeah, and you had a two-man show going on, and you obviously the need to expand was there, because there was just more and more developments were coming on the scene. So I know you played a big role in recruiting new team members, training new team members, building a team literally from scratch, teaching them the systems and how to speak to new clients. And some of these people had never sold a pre-construction condo before in their life. They didn't know what development charges were. You know, so speak a little bit on that, and like what do you look for in team members, and how you retain them and keep them once they know what to do?
So, great question, Tony. First of all, I mean, my personality is I love to help. I love to help people. I don't want to sound cliche like a corny real estate agent salesman, but I love to help people. And whether that's buying a property or helping them in their career, giving them some advice, you know, to any new agents or even the agents that's been in the business. But what I look for when I'm looking for an agent, what beats everything, you know, experience and their packet, how they look, and, you know, how they speak, and that's all secondary stuff. Number one thing I look for is attitude. If you have the right attitude, then you are coachable, and your willingness to learn, and no ego. So attitude encompasses so many different aspects. So if you have the right attitude, that's like one of the foundations of winning on our side as salespeople, is having a good attitude. You have a good attitude, you want to learn, come, let me teach you. Now, you also asked, sorry, were you going to say something?
No, I just wanted you to touch a little bit on attitude. I mean, sometimes I have an attitude when someone steps on my shoe in the bar, but explain a little bit what you mean by that. You said a word, ego, that I've heard time and time again, especially when you're working on a team. I want to know the micro, you know, part of it. Like what qualities makes someone have a good attitude versus a bad attitude?
So, great example. You said if somebody steps on your shoe, how do you react? Do you apologize to them or do they apologize to you? So,
depends what shoes I'm wearing.
Attitude. Like ego. You just said ego, and Simon taught us this, right? So if you have an ego, that's sometimes when somebody's trying to share some information with you, you may be like a know-it-all. Oh, I know this. I know it. When you really don't. You may know it, but you may not know how to apply it. So, and also people get into real estate, Tony. And I know, you and I, we did the same thing. We thought the same thing. I'm going to get in real estate and I'm self-employed and I'm my own boss and
Freedom 35.
Yeah, Freedom 35. I left my job or, I left my 9-to-5 career to get into real estate, to not have a boss and blah, blah, blah. And, so now when you join a team and you have somebody who's guiding you and showing you, the directions and where to go and, hey, you know what? I think you should be doing this instead of this. And so then the ego sometimes will kick in, ties into attitude. So no ego.
No ego.
One of the biggest things, humility, no ego. And you asked, how do you retain people, right? You have to genuinely care about their success.
It's amazing.
You have to care. Your success is tied in with their success. And it's easy to say, but you have to believe it. You have to really, really believe that. So
look, since I started my real estate career, I've been a big supporter of being on a team, being a part of a culture. And I mean, the culture at the real estate center is second to none. I mean, even though sometimes your fees by being part of a team are higher than by not being on a team, the value you get from that type of culture and being around like-minded people who are genuinely concerned about your success is worth it. It's really made a difference in my career over the past 5 years. I've really recognized that there's some monsters around me that I can use as a resource at my disposal, and that value just transcends down to my clients, like and the people that I love. Like, I'm not a commercial realtor. I don't know the first thing about selling a business, but 2 weeks ago, my uncle has a business in St. Catharines. Because of the pandemic, every time he tries to open up, they shut him down. He called me, Anthony, I want to get rid of it. I want to unload it. I made one phone call to the commercial guru on our team, Simeon Papaelias. That's a plug. He gave me the contact of a commercial lawyer, and boom, I was the hero.
Yeah.
These are the types of things that I find that, I'm not going anywhere.
Yeah. Teams are, teams are definitely great. You're surrounded by like-minded individuals. There's a lot of synergy, I believe, in energy and synergy and what we give off is what we bring in. Meet a lot of great people. I met you on the team, man.
Yeah,
if I wasn't on the team, I wouldn't have met you. So
I remember back to the Tready sales office when the place was packed before COVID, and everybody had their role. You were watching the door. Clients were coming in. We were closing them off 1, 2, 3. I don't remember how many team members we had working that day, but we looked like a little like a mini operation. It was amazing. It was really nice.
Much fun
to be a part of that.
Yeah, so much fun, man. I missed that. Yeah, we did well, and we did well. Not because we sold so many units. We did well because we had fun. We succeeded before we sold anything.
Really not. It's not fair. That we have this career where we can literally we work with our closest friends. We make a good income. Together, and we get to watch each other grow.
We help so many people. Everybody that purchased at Tready, by the way. I mean, congratulations. The market has gone up tremendously since they purchased. So not only did we have fun, and not only did, we have our wins, but our clients, again, I don't want to sound cliche and corny, but they really won. We should have bought some units there too, Tom.
Listen, there's not one cheese I don't like. So if you're going to be corny or cheesy, this is the place to do it. You just segued into my last point that I wanted to ask you. I wanted to get your take on the pre-construction condo market today. I know, look, you could have bought anything 4 years ago, and you've done really, really, really well.
Exactly.
Do you see this stopping at all? Do you see that there will be a slowdown? Like, how do you see the market in the next 4 years? People who are thinking about buying this week or next week or the end of this year, do you think that they're going to see similar returns and have similar experiences to your clients who purchased over the last 4 years?
So the forecast, right? Just like weather is. Forecast is a fancy word for prediction, right? So if we want to know what the future is going to look like, we have to reference the past. So over the past, 40, 50, 60 years, Toronto real estate as a whole has been going up by 6-7%, something like that.
That's fair.
Every single year, compounding on itself. So I like to use a conservative bench of 5% growth per year. So even though the market in some areas is going up 10, 15, 20%, let's just stay conservative, 5% per year. So based on what was going on in the past, looking up in the outlook in the future, it's going to continue going up. Even with all these major dips and hurdles we had in our market, like in 89, 90, when you and I were like still in diapers, market crashed. There was a recession. 2000 market crashed. The dot-coms boom. 2008 market crashed. 2020 market stopped, but it's still been going up. So if anybody wants to purchase, then as long as you have a long-term outlook on buying and holding real estate, you're not going to lose. Also, Tony, our population is growing enormously. We surpassed Chicago's population. We surpassed Washington, D.C.'s population, Toronto. We're a world-class city, jobs and the world is in Toronto. So no, we're not going down. We're going to continue going up. And I hope we go up steadily, not crazy, 20% per year.
And look, like you said, a wise man once told me that the real estate market it's like a yo-yo on an escalator. There are little dips that come down every once in a while, but it is trending upwards, right? So yeah. The main thing for you, and again, this is all advice that was given to me by people who have been in this game longer than I have. Don't sell in the dip. Now, how do you prevent yourself from selling in a dip? By not over leveraging. So don't buy more than you can afford. Have a long-term vision. Be able to weather through the storm, and stay in your lane. Buy what you know. Work with a specialist who's mastered the niche of the market that you're looking at, and you cannot go wrong in Toronto.
No, can't go wrong.
Imran, I really want to thank you so much for putting on such a nice shirt. And
you're a champion, man. You're a real champion, man.
Thank you so much, man. Thank you. I love that you think that. I hear it every day when you tell me, and we're gonna keep battling together, man. I look forward to the future with you and
same, man.
Continuing to build. And thank you so much for your time today. I really appreciate it. Thank you to the Fitigu Media Squad for getting my rep in today. And we'll see you guys next time. Thanks again for tuning in.
Thank you, man.